So I do my intro like outside. I'll record it separately so we can just go straight into the conversation. So a huge reason why I wanted to talk to you specifically, obviously like you went an entrepreneurial route within like the real estate kind of business, and you'll have to get me up to speed on the difference between realtors and real estate agents, because I know that there's a difference and I know that it matters. I just don't know what it is. Really, it's not just that, but part of what, like a big focus of why I started doing this really revolved around people's transitions from something that's a little bit more steady and normal to something that is as inherently more risk when you look at it from the outside. And then it's like I feel like it's tenfold for people in government jobs, and especially people in the military, because you and I, this is how we met, was when we worked together at our first duty station. Or it was my first duty station. You had been around for a while.
Right. Make you feel old.
And making that transition it's so difficult. I mean, one, in yourself, you have to overcome the fears and doubts that you have of making the transition of getting out of the military and then going and not even just going and working in the private sector, but like running your own thing and being a lot more autonomous than the military allows you. But even like all of the external factors while you're in, it's like everybody else's indoctrination, it gets pinned on you as you're trying to leave and do your thing. Like, oh, you're going to try and do that? Good luck.
Right.
We'll see you back in here in a little bit. Did you deal with any of that, like, as you were transitioning out?
So my situation, and I'll share it with you because I've shared it with a lot of people now. My situation was totally different than somebody that had the opportunity to transition from the military to being a civilian. I didn't really get that luxury as I was forced out. So yeah.
So it's a backed into a corner kind of thing where now that that's almost even worse, because the planning aspect of it, like I had no intent of doing this, and we had worked together in air defense, and then you had transitioned to a different form of artillery in the Army, and it seemed like you were doing really good things. So
I'll tell you.
Yeah. You don't need to go into the details of why you got kicked out if you don't want to. If you do, that's fine. But I'm really interested in like your mindset, like when it happened, like what mental processes did you go through during that?
So I've always kind of been a person where, man, it takes a lot for me to just like, can we cuss?
No, yeah.
It takes a lot for me to fucking give up, right? I mean, you would damn near have to kill me. But that situation, like you said, it did back me into a corner. Yeah. I'm very, very fortunate that I had the leadership that I did, because they were able to kind of negotiate a deal for me that I really couldn't refuse, to be honest with you. I mean, it was a superb fucking deal for the situation that I was in. It was like a no-brainer. Court martial just didn't make sense to me. I'm like, okay, listen, where do I sign it? I'll take that deal all day. So at that point, when I knew that I wasn't going to be able to stay in the military, my mindset at that point was like, okay, what's the next thing? Like, what are you going to do now? Because you got a kid right now. I had one kid at the time, my daughter. I mean, I still got a daughter, but at that time, I really needed to focus on, all right, what are you going to do, bro? Like, you're going to be gone in the next couple of days. I think I only got 10 days to fucking go to CIF, turn my shit back in, and have all my shit cleared and out of the Army. So in 10 days, I had to fucking figure out, like, what are you going to do, guy? So the first thing I did, and I know the other veterans are going to hear this, so I want to give, like, the truth, the facts. The first thing I did was I signed up for unemployment. Man, I was making $600 a week on unemployment.
Wow.
Yes, dude. And it was perfect because I didn't miss a beat, right? I didn't go from not having a paycheck to having to figure out next month to the next month to the next month. I went right into making money so I can continue to pay those bills that I had. Yeah. For my daughter. And I also got once that was over, I went back to school. First of all, was one of the first things I did. So when I knew that I was getting out, I automatically started talking to the VA about going back to school. I was going to, what was it, Fayetteville Tech, I think.
Okay. Yeah. Yep.
I went back to school for architecture because they provided an architecture school. I was going to architecture. I was majoring in architecture before I came into the Army.
Okay.
I wanted to go back into that. So I went back into that for school and started getting that VA money as well, which is perfect because in that deal that I got, I kept all of my benefits.
All the benefits. So you were able to use the GI Bill and
I was able to use the GI Bill.
Oh my gosh.
Perfect,
extra
man.
income too per month where you
Yes.
can actually kind of stabilize and get yourself back on your feet.
Because I knew eventually the unemployment was going to run out. So I had to have another plan when the unemployment ran out. I had to have some money coming in as well from school. So I went back to school, man. I didn't stay too much longer. I met my wife. In North Carolina. She's in the Army as well. She's actually a paralegal, which is funny because I wish I knew her a while.
Yeah, exactly. Ain't late and $1 short, babe. Where you at?
Where was you at? But she even told me too. She's like, "Hey, your first charge really looked out for you because you could have got way shittier into this thing."
Yeah.
So it was just fortunate, man. It was God, to be honest with you, to put me in those positions. And I also kind of looked at it like, man, at that point, man, air defense kind of wore me out because we were jumping all the time. The stuff that we were doing in air defense. When I got to 82nd, those guys like, dude, when they saw my jump log, they're like, yeah, I'm jumping.
I did the same thing. I made the same transition when I went into Intel, and then I went into directly into the 82nd. And I showed up, and I was like, all right, where are the jumps? And they're like, oh, we'll let you know in the next couple of months when one comes. Right. And I was like, what do you mean? We were used to jumping. 3 jumps in a week would not be an unusual week for us.
And 82nd, man, them dudes really, depending on the unit that you're in, they really only jump just to keep getting paid. Like, they don't jump jump.
In order to get paid, you have to, and you stay on jump status, you have to jump once every 3 months.
Sure. Yeah.
Keep it, and then you go in. There's statuses where your pay hurt, your pay loss, and all this stuff. And those people they'll mark you with identifiers or wrap tape. Once we start bumping people off of this plane, we need the white straps up first because they're.
And I was fine with getting strapped because I was never pay hurt. I ain't never had to worry about
it. Yeah.
So yeah, man, I met her. So at that time, man, when I met her, what was I doing? So I was still in school. Man, I had got a job at Foot Locker there in the mall in North Carolina. At Fort Bragg. I was working at the Foot Locker. And I was dating my wife, my girlfriend then, my wife now. And she got an opportunity to go to the Pentagon, to work at the Pentagon in DC, and work under, what's the name was her boss? Flynn, General Flynn was her boss. Yep. And like I said, we were just boyfriend and girlfriend at the time. And she's like, "Hey, I gotta go. I gotta move." I'm like, "Damn!" So I'm just thinking, that would be a great opportunity to get me out of North Carolina.
Yeah.
See something different and try to figure out what I can do in DC. I couldn't get a regular job. Nobody was going to give me a job with the type of offense that I had.
Right.
It was pretty serious, man. And I couldn't get a regular job. So I really had no choice but to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
When I got to DC, I was looking at schools to go back to continue my architecture. But we were in the process of buying a house. And I met our real estate agent. He was another black guy, man. Well-dressed, really sharp dude, man. Pulled up in a nice BMW. And he was actually one of the top agents in DC. It just happened that we just met this guy. It just happened that he was our real estate agent.
The thing that I appreciate about it, though, you wouldn't have had the opportunity to have that chance happen had you not made the choice to make the move. You know, oh, well, I'm in school. I'm getting a degree. I've got a job. Like the bills are getting paid. I don't want to roll the dice and risk it. But because you made the choice, you put yourself in the opportunity for things like that to happen to you. And so like with every aspect or component of luck that seems to come up in people's lives, like I always try to look at the decisions that led up to that lucky point.
Right.
Like you position yourself to be lucky.
Right. And you have to, man. You have to do that in life if you want to be. You can't. Some people can be content with where they are, and that's totally fine. If they're comfortable where it's totally fine. I'm never that guy. Not saying that I'm not thankful for the things that I have, but I'm very thankful.
Yeah.
I'm always thinking of, man, like, how can I be better? How can I be more?
And that's what I say almost every show now. Like when I'm having these conversations, and I'm like, listen, if you're the guy who enjoys your 9 to 5 and you want to cut and go fishing at 4:30, you want to leave early on Friday to go fishing and spend 3 hours on the lake, dude, more power to you. This show's not for you. Like you're like there are plenty of podcasts out there. If you want to listen to it, go rock out to some Leonard Skinner, man, and do your thing. Like we're here to bring these stories to show that people can overcome these obstacles, that in the face of it, based on the decisions that you make, you can overcome it, and real success is possible by real people that have, the idea of overcoming a discharge of that type from the military can be overwhelming to the point where you become dependent upon a social welfare program. And you did it the exact way that it was intended, that it was built for. It's like, hey, this is to keep you on your feet and not to let you go homeless and defend you while you get yourself set up for the next thing. And that's exactly what you did. That's beautiful.
Right. Don't. And trust me, it was damn near embarrassing, to be honest with you, to be in the unemployment office, to be thinking about getting unemployment, man. It was really fucking embarrassing. Yeah. However, at that point, it didn't fucking matter, right? I had to figure it the fuck out. I had a kid. Like, this is the thing that you guys got to do. And I put myself in the position to be in that position. I did the things that I got.
Exactly. And that's the personal responsibility aspect of it.
You got to take responsibility of that as a man and can't cry about it. Now you got to figure out what's the next move because you did that.
Yeah. So, but then you're in DC and you're looking at homes and you see a guy roll up in a nice BMW who looks like he's kind of owning it, you know?
Right, owning it, man. Yeah.
So did you guys immediately, like during the showing of the house, start talking about real estate, or how did that go down?
Immediately, man. I mean, when he pulled up, he was like, we just immediately connected and, we introduced each other. He showed us a couple houses and I said, listen, man, I'm in transition right now. I'm going to school for architecture, but I really like what you're doing right now. I like this process. I've always wanted to be a person where I get up every morning, put suits on. I always wanted to be a business person, to be honest. I said that the military was a stepping stone, or it catapulted me into the position I'm in now. I will never, ever say anything bad about the military, man.
Right.
Really, I will preach it to everybody that I possibly can, man. If you got 3 or 4 years where you're just sitting at home, twiddling your thumbs, don't know what to do next, bro, go to the military. It really
changes everything from it gives you real hands-on experience, even if it's not in something like for us and the job that we had, at least to start out, those things don't translate to the outside. It's not like, I'm going to go be a short-range Stinger missile air defense guy for Halliburton, like, nope, that's not a thing.
Right. But it's the things that you learned while doing that job, meeting the Mac, meeting the other people. Like, it's the other things that you got to kind of.
Yep. And that's exactly it. It's again, it goes back to just like we were talking about. It comes back to choices, like the choices that you make. Are you choosing to network? Are you choosing to pay attention to how the operations are being run, even when you're not responsible for running them? And you figure out what it takes. You're like, I understand how to organize like a large operation. Like it takes these categories of things that you have to take into consideration. You have to figure out how to delegate responsibilities, and like, okay, who can I lean on, who knows what they're doing and everything. And like, there is so much there for every single position if you're paying attention and if you choose to capitalize on it.
It teaches you to be whatever you want to be when you get out, because there's so many different things to learn from in the military, man. Like you said, every skill that you just named, it teaches you how to be that businessman. It teaches you how to run shit. It teaches you how to go into a huge company and be a boss or a leader. I mean, that's what the military teaches you. And this agent happened to be happened to be an Air Force veteran as well. So we connected on the veteran side as well.
Yep.
Yeah, we immediately started talking about real estate, man. And at that time, my wife and I found a house. We got a house under contract. The house is actually being built. So we found the house in the middle of it being built, probably about 30 days out. So we were staying in a hotel. Oh my God, it's horrible. So we stayed in this hotel for 30 days. And I texted the guy and I said, hey man, send me the information I need to get a real estate license. He's like, okay. So he sent it to me. The next day I texted him back. It's like, all right, I'm going to the school. He was like, okay, when are you going? I'm like, I'm going tomorrow. I start tomorrow.
No, like I'm going right now.
Like, you're really on? Like, I'm starting tomorrow. And that was my job, man. I was going to class every day from 9 to 5. And when you do it like that, it only takes you about 2 weeks to finish the course.
Oh, wow.
It's very quick if you go face to face and you do it 9 to 5 every day. You can do it online. You can do it at your own pace. I didn't have that time.
Yeah.
So I went face to face with the class.
So you did that while you guys were staying at the hotel?
Yes, bro. Every day I was getting up going. That was my job.
That's the personal responsibility. That's the choices like that you choose. Like, and you could have justified 15 different ways. Like, oh, okay, I'll just wait till we get in the house. Okay, I'll wait till we get my daughter in school or in daycare and make sure we get everything all set up. Like, nope, I'm going. I'm making a choice and I'm taking action today. That's beautiful.
And I felt like, for me, I felt like a bum, right? I felt bad that my wife was the breadwinner. I felt bad that she was basically, having to take care of everything while I was jobless trying to figure it out. So I didn't have time to just be sitting there on my ass. I needed to figure it out. So I had to make that decision to do it.
So it was 2 weeks. How did you feel when you got done with the school? Like, what was your confidence level in going out and starting to sling homes to people?
So this is the thing, man. This is so crazy because it goes back to you saying putting yourself in position to be successful. In that class, bro, this is so crazy. In that class, I was in that class with maybe 20 other people, right? One particular person who became my mentor, who became like, I would almost say a father figure to me. I call this guy right now and we'll have a 3-hour conversation if I need to. He was in this guy was in the class as well, getting his real estate license. He's a big real estate investor, but he never had a real estate license. So he wanted to go to school and get his real estate license. I met this guy in the real estate class and we just connected like immediately, day one, we connected. So when we got out of class, him and I actually went into business together. We partnered up, made it. He had never sold real estate as an agent, so it kind of was a learning curve for both of us.
Absolutely.
But he knew the DC market. He knew people. He knew how to network. I mean, everybody knew this guy, so it was the perfect guy to meet and to learn from. And this guy literally took me under his wing and taught me everything about business. I had never been a businessman. He taught me how to be a businessman. He taught me how to run a business. He just taught me everything that I need to know to be successful. So I would say when we got out of school and started selling real estate, man, it really went better than the normal person who just gets out of school, don't know anybody, don't have anybody to partner with, and really just trying to figure it out. It wasn't, I wouldn't say it was easy. However, it was a little bit easier for me because I knew this person.
Right.
Was really helping me and mentoring me.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and you made, again, like you wouldn't have been in that class had you not made the choice to take action right then. If you would have procrastinated 1 minute, one day,
person.
When you never would have met him, the entire scope of your life's journey would be different by that one choice.
Yeah.
That's incredible. What I've seen you post listings that you've sold that are like in excess of like $1 million homes, like on what seems like a somewhat regular basis. And so when you got out and you guys partnered up and you started doing your thing, how long was it before like you made your first sale?
Oh man, when we got out, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I started selling $80,000 houses, $60,000 houses.
Yeah.
I would almost say almost 30 days after we got out of school, we started selling because this guy understood business. So
that's incredible. That is, you went, so like, I'm putting this, I'm trying to put the frame on like the bigger picture. So the time frame from you working at Foot Locker, having been kicked out of the Army, being on unemployment, to flipping houses in DC, or not, I guess not flipping, but selling houses in DC. What's the time frame there?
I would say all in. I would damn near say all in a year, man. All in a year's time.
For a 180-degree turn in your life, completely different direction, going to school for something else, but not closing your mind off to the opportunities that are presenting themselves and popping up in your face. Yeah. That's one of the things that I talk about all the time is success or opportunities never show up how you anticipate them.
Yes.
And if you have your blinders on and you're not paying attention, they're blowing right by you. And so I think it's important to be intentional. And like every step of the way, you're making choices and just taking positive action. I think that's incredible. So
for me, it was I wanted to be an architect. I always wanted to be an architect. All my life as a kid, I wanted to be an architect, right? But real estate, I felt like I had to make a decision on that as well, because moving to DC and driving around, and we all know DC they call it the DMV because the DC, Maryland, and Virginia all in one, right?
Yeah.
Huge market, bro. I mean, tons of people. Like, where do you start? How are you gonna start, man?
Yeah, I'm asking myself, like, when you're talking, I'm like, dude, how do you even how do you even find homes, especially when you're going like independently? Like the science behind it, like how does that work? How do you find homes that people are putting for sale, and how do you contact them and be like, hey, I'll sell your house for you? Or do you work both ends of it, where you are assisting people find the home and you're assisting people sell the home? Okay.
When I started, we were doing everything, man, and we were doing the things that the other agents didn't want to do. And what I say by that is, we were going out and literally we would pick a neighborhood and we would knock on doors. We would go out, man, it'd be 99,000 degrees outside, and we were walking door to door, knocking on doors, and just trying to sell our services, right? Trying to talk to these people that may possibly want to sell, that may possibly want to buy. A lot of other agents weren't doing that. It was kind of frowned upon. They didn't want to do it, but we did it, and it really helped our business to start. And that's one way to find a seller or a buyer. And there's other ways that you can pay for lists of people that are selling and things like that. There's a lot of ways to figure out who's selling and who's buying. So we did that. We just hit the ground, man. We just hit the ground working. We didn't waste no time. Day one. So I worked with him on a team. We worked together on a team maybe for about a year and a half. And then at that point, I kind of felt like I had reached the glass ceiling. That fast, I felt like I had reached the glass ceiling. We started selling $80,000 homes, $80,000 homes, and then we went up to maybe about $150,000, worked our way up to $300,000 market, $500,000 market, $700,000 market. So we were constantly working our way up, and it was going kind of fast. And the other agents that were around us were like, damn, how are you guys doing this shit so fast? And you're brand new agents. Insane. So at that point, I kind of felt like I had reached the glass ceiling. And in real estate, as a real estate agent, you pick real estate agents are independent contractors. So you are legit your own business. You are legit your own boss. You pick your times and when you want to come to work. But you also got to understand, whenever you go to work is whenever you make money. So if you want to sit at home all day on your ass, you're not going to make money. So we were working it as a 9 to 5. We were getting up every morning, going into the office like it was a 9 to 5, knowing that it was our business to be there every day.
That's the right attitude. That's what I hear from people that choose their own thing and to own their own financial destiny is that once you become an entrepreneur, it's looking more like working 100 hours a week so that I can pay myself versus working 40 hours a week so somebody can pay me.
Yep. And I'm gonna make more money. I'm gonna make more money working my 100 hours than I would work with somebody else for 40 hours. I'm gonna make way more money. Yeah. I make way more money now working 40 hours by myself than I would working for somebody else for 40 hours. So as a real estate agent, like I said, you're an independent contractor and you have to go out and partner with these brokerages. And a brokerage is like a Keller Williams or a Century 21 or somebody like that. You go to those people and those brokers who are like over that brokerage, they want you to be a part of that brokerage as much as you want to be a part of that brokerage. So you're really interviewing them. You're going to them and what can you offer me? What can you offer Mario Fox? Because if I come over here to Century 21, I'm bringing all of my clients with me. You want my clients. And at that point, brokerages are really looking at agents' sales production. They're looking at agents and seeing how much are agents selling, what are these agents doing, how successful are they, how are they marketing themselves, all that. So these brokerages are going to be reaching out to you, constantly trying, kind of like sports teams, man. They're constantly trying to trade you from your team that you're with right now and give you a bigger deal to come be a part of.
So when you get picked up, are you dealing with like contracts the same way where you're doing like a 3-5 year contract with Keller Williams or something like that? Or how does that work?
Each company is different. Some of them may do just a 1-year contract. So it differs depending on what you want to negotiate. It's all up to what you can negotiate. So with Keller Williams, we could have got out of the contract, and we all knew that. And I wanted to get into the higher end market. I wanted to sell $1 million homes. And I was always a passion of mine when I got into real estate. So one of the biggest things I want to point out is when you do get into something, if you are going to start that business, always have goals, always write the goals down so you can always go back and scale it. But always see the bigger picture. Even day one, see the bigger picture. What is your big why? Why are you really doing this? Why do you want to get in real estate? Why do you want to flip houses? Why do you want to own your own podcast? Yeah. All those things. You got to see the bigger picture so that you can go years down the road, you know? Exactly. So I knew day one getting into selling real estate, I wanted to sell high-end luxury real estate. But I knew that Keller Williams, that brokerage that I was with, it didn't sell luxury real estate. And to the people in DC, Maryland, and Virginia, they really only recognized 2 brokerages as those higher-end brokerages that they would sell those multi-million-dollar homes with. And those brokerages were the type of brokerages where you don't call them, they call you, right? So just think of them like the Golden State Warriors of the real estate world.
Yeah.
Right? Well, me being the person that I am, I'm not going to wait on a call. I called them. I called this company called Sotheby's. And Sotheby's is one of the biggest luxury real estate brokerages in the world. It's called Sotheby's International Realty. They're everywhere, internationally, really. So I called one of the brokers one day. They had 5 offices between DC, Maryland, and Virginia. And I was licensed in all DC, Maryland, and Virginia. You had to be licensed in all 3 to sell in DC, Maryland, or Virginia.
And I was wondering about that, but like, especially being in that area, the complications that come with your ability to go across borders and sell real estate, like how that does that impact your ability or your flexibility as an agent?
Yeah, if you're not licensed, if you're only licensed in Maryland, you can't sell in Virginia, you can't sell in DC. And for them to be so close together, it was crazy for you not to be licensed in all three.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You cut yourself off at the knees. Yeah,
you are. And those bigger, higher end homes are going to be in DC and Virginia. Really.
Yeah.
So I called this company. I called Sotheby's. I spoke with the broker, and I said, "Listen, man, I know that you guys call people, and this is you probably don't get this all the time. I've only been in the game for a year and a half. I know you get more seasoned agents. However, I'm very passionate about real estate, and I'm very passionate about your brand. So before I called this guy, I knew everything about this brand that I could possibly know. Everything, dude. I mean, researched it for months before I even went over there. I knew about this brand for years. I just never really thought that I would be a part of it. So the guy was like, you know what, man? Come in and sit down with me and let's meet. So I went in, man. And at this time, I didn't really have my first suit, kind of going back to when we first started, I didn't have any suits. I didn't have no suits, bro. My wife had to take me shopping to Burlington's and bought me a couple suits that cost like $100 a piece.
Right, yeah.
But by this time that I'm meeting with this guy at Sotheby's, I had kind of made some money, so I had some better suits. I put on my best suit that I possibly could that day to meet with this guy. And I went in, I sat down with him, and I just sold him on me. I sold him on how passionate I was about real estate, how passionate I was about helping people, and how passionate I was about their brand and why my brand would be good to partner with theirs. Right?
That's what I was just going to say is that you instilled faith in your brand when you were there. And that's I think is super important. Everything from the way that you look of picking that best suit to the way that you communicate with them and then your actual, because those are the first things that they're going to experience.
Right.
This is what you look like. And this is the way that you're communicating with me. Okay, and then if you pass those barriers, you know, then okay, what have you done?
Keep talking.
You're good. Yeah. Well, what have you actually done in your personal history to, you know, for me to give you the time that you're requesting right now? Like, are you actually, or did you just start? Or did you sell your first home? Or are you actually out there putting the legwork in and getting it done?
Right. And that, okay, so that's why I grabbed this. I don't know if you read this. The Way of the Wolf.
I haven't. It's been brought to my attention. It's on my top list.
In this book, Jordan talks about appearance. And he talks about the first seconds that you see somebody, you're automatically making a judgment on that person. And I mean, just think about being in the grocery store and you turn the corner you're on aisle 9, you go on aisle 10, and you see a person, right, that you never saw before, and you see them in the first 3 seconds. You're like, I mean, that person can be dressed ragged. You're automatically going to be like, man, that person is hurting, right? That person is. You're going to make all kinds of judgments about that person. Well, in this book, he says that first 3 seconds is very critical, and you already make a judgment on that person. And in order for you to change your judgment on that person, you have to meet them at least 7 times again. So at that point, after reading that, I'm like, well, damn, dude, how many people are you going to get the opportunity to meet 7 more times to make them change their perception on you?
No, especially in the business world, and you're trying to make that type of impression. If you blow it from Jump Street, they're not going to get that opportunity.
It's over with. So I've always been particular about my appearance. Always. Well, more so when I got into the business world. So, like I said, I went and met with the guy. I had only been in the business like a year and a half. And after the meeting, he was like, listen, man, I'll be honest with you. We don't take agents that haven't been in the game at least 3 years. Yeah. And we don't take agents that haven't sold a certain amount of real estate, right, consistently. He was like, however, you're different. That's what he said to me. He's like, you're different, man. I can see how passionate you are about this. You really want to do this. And I think that your brand partners well with our brand.
Yeah.
we're willing to give you this opportunity. Dude, I was stoked.
That is amazing. And that's, God, I love it. I love those stories. Like, that's the stuff that gets me really pumped up, is people that break that barrier that may even be somewhat of a real barrier. I have a whole shtick about barriers and obstacles in our lives, and like what we essentially allow those barriers to be, and what we create ourself as barriers that aren't really there. But then when there's real barriers like that, when they have like rules in place,
right,
it's still an obstacle. It's still a barrier. It's not a wall. It's not an impenetrable wall.
right.
Like, you can overcome, because at the end of the day, a business wants somebody that's going to promote them, that's going to help them expand and be better and do better at whatever it is industry they're in this case, obviously, selling homes. And so if they get the feel from you, they're like, you know what? Like, these rules exist for a reason, but like, you don't fall in the category of people that we're trying to keep out.
Right.
There's no way that they would have known that or figured that out if you didn't make that call. But on the front end of that, if you didn't spend months, like, all of this is work. It's not like, oh, he happened to catch him on a nice day. And how lucky is Mario to be able to pull this off? Like, it's not luck. It's not luck. It's work. It's like you spend and you invest all this time and energy, and then you reap what you sow, and you're reaping fruit from a tree, you know. And
that guy could have easily on the phone. He could have easily been like, yeah, you know, man, let me get back with you, or call me back on this day, and then we'll set it up. I mean, could have easily shut it down right there. And I wouldn't say I wouldn't be here where I am today, but I would have had to find another way.
Exactly.
To that point. And it probably would have discouraged me a little bit. It probably would have been like, you know what, all right, maybe it's just not the time. Maybe I need to work more until I get to that goal and get there. But they gave me the opportunity, man. Negotiated a really good deal. From that point forward, that guy became a great friend. That broker became a great friend of mine.
That's awesome.
He actually got the opportunity to go open his own Sotheby's office, which is also in Virginia. They promoted him and told him to, hey, we're going to give you your own office. Go run it. And when he announced that, I immediately went to him after the meeting and said, hey, I'm going with you. I know you're going to open a new company. You're not going to have a lot of agents that's going with you. I'm going to be one of those agents that go with you, because you gave me the opportunity to be here today, so I don't want to leave your side. I'm going to go with you to help you with your new endeavor as well. So me and that guy always remained friends, man. And from that day forward, that's when I penetrated the luxury market like crazy. I mean, after having that brand attached to my brand, it just made it so much easier to people. And I mean, we were servicing people. It's crazy, man. We were servicing people that, like, basketball owners, sport team owners, actors, music artists. We're talking about $50 million homes, $30 million homes, $20 million homes. There was no ceiling at this company. You're selling whatever millions it is, you're going to be selling it, bro. And they're going to come to us first. So just to be in that opportunity, for me, it was to be in a room with those people that were way smarter than me. Because more, you could not put a dollar amount on that. The money didn't even matter. When I got into real estate, I never got into real estate for the money. And that's where a lot of people fail when they go into business. They want to find things, what's going to make me money, man? How can I make money quick? And I got a lot of people that call me or come up to me and say, man, what can I do to start making money? Well, first of all, you're going into it in the wrong mindset, because if you're passionate about something, you're going to know that you're not going to be making no money off the rip.
Yeah.
You're not making no money right now, man. But if you're passionate about it, you're going to continue to work on it, and you're going to work through the obstacles. Nothing is going to make you quit if you're really passionate about it. So the first thing is find something that you're passionate about and go after that. Damn, I forgot what I was saying. So we were selling these homes, man. And like I said, I was in the room with people that were way smarter than me that were selling. way more real estate than me, bro. I'm talking about we had teams that were selling $100 million of real estate a year, which is insane, bro.
That is insane.
Insane. Insane. So to be there and to be amongst those people and to be learning from them, and I was the first black agent in that office. And nobody looked at me like I was the first black agent, right? People looked at me like, I mean, nobody knew how I got in the company. So everybody kind of knew like, shit, he had to be doing something to be over here.
Exactly.
So we ain't gonna look at the guy no other different. He's selling real estate. We're gonna take him in. We're gonna teach him everything we know because he is a part of our brand too, and he represents us as well. So nobody looked at it like that, man. They took me in. They really taught me, bro. And I met some really, really, really good people that are always lifelong brothers and friends.
And so those people were all working at that same office that you were in. That was the group that you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
that it's crazy because it's almost like that company creates like mastermind groups. Like you see people do it with businesses, like, oh, join this mastermind group and pay $5,000 for this 2-day course or whatever.
Right,
and pay $2,000 for this week-long course, and you're working in a mastermind group. You're getting paid to be there with people that have the skills and have been down the road, especially in the luxury market.
Yes.
And then, so your opportunity, like in the way that you take action on things, I'm like, this is like a gold field for you. Like, okay, let's do it,
man.
And so you did. So what was, what's the story behind your first 6-figure sale?
Oh, so my first 6-figure sale, man. Okay, it's a crazy story. It's a really good story too, man. Now that you got me talking about this stuff, these are things that I forgot.
Yeah.
I really forgot, but things that you don't think about every day. Now when you get to where you're going, you kind of forget about these things. So thank you for bringing it back.
Absolutely. It's awesome to hear, man, especially seeing and having worked with you in the Army and seeing where you're at now. Like, I've always loved following you along with your story. And I'm like, dude, I'm so happy for you. It's out of this world. Like, I seeing people get to this level of success that have served. You constantly hear about the homeless veterans and everything.
Yeah.
And it's like, so to watch somebody overcome those obstacles and to reach high levels of success, it's inspiring. And so, like, even if this is like a just for vets show, you know what I mean? Like that is enough for me because it's possible, you know, with your choices. Like, your story is amazing. Please.
Somebody could be going through the same thing that I'm going through. So this is perfect podcast, bro. So I do got to go back because my first $1 million listing, I was with Keller Williams. I was still with Keller Williams.
Okay.
And I just happened to get this guy from cold calling. And he was about to go through a foreclosure with the house. The bank was about to take the house. And at that point, he was kind of just like, man, I got to get it sold. So he ended up listing it with me. However, let me tell you about that, though. I cold called the guy, man. And the guy was like, you know what? Come see me. Let's talk about it. So I researched the guy. I researched everything if I can. Man. I researched the guy. I pulled him up. And when you're talking about multi-million-dollar homes, 9 times out of 10, you're going to be able to research these people because these are people that are doing something in the world.
That makes sense.
You're going to find them.
Yep.
So I was able to find the guy, read up on the guy, and I learned that the guy was a stockbroker. Another thing that I've always been intrigued with, right? Yeah. I also found out that the guy was Asian. So my wife is Asian. My wife is Korean. So just sitting and talking to her, and learning things from her, I learned a lot about the Asian culture. And I pinpointed his ethnicity, and he was Chinese. So going back to appearance, knowing that appearance is everything, and in the real estate world, I wouldn't even just say in the real estate world, in the sales world, people like to buy things from people that they like. They like to buy things from people that they feel like they have some similarities to, right? So I knew that red is, I don't want to say every Asian, but Asians really like red. They like the color red because it represents basically good faith. It represents good, basically, for them. So when I went, I had a gray suit. I'll never forget. I had my gray suit on. I wore a red tie and I wore a red pocket square and some red socks because you're not gonna wear shoes in their house.
Yeah,
you're taking your shoes off. So when I walked up to the door, knocked on the door, the guy opened the door, and you could tell that he noticed it. Like he saw the colors and was like, okay. Shook my hand. We came in. I mean, we automatically clicked, man. We talked about the house, walked around the house. He showed me everything about the house. Well, in his neighborhood, there's only about 11 houses in his neighborhood. Every one of them is over like 2 million easily. And I told the guy, I said, listen, he had the house on the market with somebody else and it didn't sell. I said, listen, if I sell this house and we came up with a record time, I was like, if I can sell your house in 30 days, you have to teach me the stock market.
Bro, oh my God.
I was like, you gotta teach me how to trade. And the guy was like, okay. He's an older guy, man. And I know that older people love younger people that are out doing shit, that are out trying to be successful. They love that shit, bro. They love to be mentors to younger people like us. So he saw it as a challenge, like, okay, challenge accepted. He's like, 7 to 30 days and I'll teach you. Okay, put the house on the market, sold it in 10 days.
Oh my God.
So he had no choice. He had no choice but to teach me now.
We shook hands, man. You owe me.
Yep. And he kept his word. So in the midst of me listing his house, I listed his house and I put a Keller Williams sign out front, one of my Keller Williams signs. So I listed the guy's house. I got the house under contract. I went and door knocked in his neighborhood. I wanted to introduce myself to the people and say, hey, I was a guy that just sold a house down the street in 10 days. Are you thinking about selling your house? Everybody said no. There was one particular house in this neighborhood, man. It's so crazy, bro. There was one particular house in this neighborhood. And I did research on it, and I knew that the guy had inherited the house from his grandparents. But this guy was wealthy too, younger guy. At that point, he probably was about 37 years old. I was only like 28, 29, 28, I would say. So I went door knocking. This particular house, I really wanted this listing because it was like the second best house in the neighborhood. I mean, laid, bro, swimming pool, 7-car garage. The guy had Ferrari. He was a car collector, so he had Ferraris and everything in the garage. It was perfect. So I went and knocked on this guy's door when I got this first house under contract. And the guy was like, yeah, no, I'm not thinking about selling, man. Nah, not really, man, but thank you for coming. I was like, okay. Ended up closing on the first house, sold that first house. In the meantime, I transitioned over to Sotheby's, to the luxury real estate market, real estate brokerage. Well, with that being said, I had to change out my Keller Williams sign. So I took my Keller Williams sign and really discarded it because I didn't need it anymore. And I got a Sotheby's sign installed. That dude called me, that guy that I door knocked on, he called me the next day and was like, hey, can you come back and meet me at my house again, man?
If anybody thinks that branding doesn't matter, then case in point right now, the phone call the next day.
Next day, bro. And I was like, damn, I didn't know what it was that made him change his mind until I got to the house and met him and his wife at that point. He's like, well, man, listen, let me tell you something. I'll be honest with you. When you walked up to my door and knocked on the door, you reminded me of me. He said to see you hustling like you were hustling and walking around. I mean, think about it, man. These houses, we're talking about 12, 13,000 square foot houses. The driveways are long as shit. So I had to walk down these long ass driveways. So the guy was like, man, for you to walk down that long ass driveway and then knock on my door, to have the courage to knock on my door, asking about selling a $2 million house. He's like, it was crazy, man. He's like, but I just couldn't go with the Keller Williams brand. Yeah. Like, when you change that sign, at that point, it made sense with me because he's like, I really like you as a person. I just didn't like that brand. They don't sell luxury real estate.
Yeah.
And I didn't want my house to be associated with that brand.
That's
So,
incredible.
you changed that sign and went to that brokerage, at that point, you were the perfect guy for me. So he gave me a tour of the house, man. He's like, I do really want to sell. I don't have to sell, but I would love to sell because it wasn't my house. My wife would love to have a house of our own and we can build from the ground up. He's like, so, let's think of a price. And if you think you can sell it at that price, let's do it. So we came up with a price of like $2.3 million. I listed that guy's house. And at that point in that city where we were, that was a record-breaking sale if we were able to get it to sell. And I ended up with that house. I ended up meeting a young doctor who was also another CEO who was running her own company. She got a huge government contract, huge medical government contracts. The lady was a millionaire, single lady by herself, a millionaire. And I was able to get her to come look at the house. She called me because she saw the house online. She called me and wanted to go see it. And I was able to get that house under contract with her, representing both sides. So in the real estate world, if you can represent both sides of a deal, you're making bank. Like you're making way more money by representing the seller and the buyer. So I was able to represent the seller and the buyer on a $2 million deal, which really added up to a $4 million deal.
Right. Yep.
It added up to a $4 million deal. So you get a commission out on a $4 million deal versus a $2 million deal if you were just representing the seller. Man, that catapulted my business, and the people in the office were like, how the fuck? How did you do that? Like, you haven't even been in the company a month. You haven't even been here 2 weeks. And you're like, this is crazy. But everybody wasn't like that because, once again, they felt like, well, in order for you to build this company, you had to do something, right? But the people that I was really close with kind of knew the story.
Yeah.
My background. So they were really like, damn, dude, that's crazy. That's a cool ass story. So that's kind of how I got into the luxury market. And that guy did teach me, that first $1 million house, that guy did teach me how to be. He taught me how to trade, man. He literally was our trader. The guy that I partnered with in the beginning, when I first started real estate, remember that guy? When I first went to real estate school? That myself and that guy partnered with this other guy, and he taught us both how to trade stocks, how to be day traders. He's a day trader, really.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So he taught us that, man. So just being in that, putting myself in that position, put me in front of different people. It's gonna put you in front of CEOs. It's gonna put you in front of people that are out doing things that can teach you different things and really mentor you. And every person that I met in that luxury market has taught me something. Every person has been a mentor to me, because every one of them were older than me, but every one of them didn't look at me like I was the younger guy, because I always was my appearance. So even these millionaires that selling these $1 million homes always call me Mr. Fox, Mr. Fox, Mr. Fox. And that's how they respected me, because they saw that I respected myself and I carried myself in
absolutely
a way. So nobody ever disrespected me as the young kid that's trying to figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody looked at me as the young professional that has it, that he is trying to figure it out. However, we're going to help this guy figure it out because he's trying to figure it out. It's a bunch of kids his age right now that ain't doing shit, that ain't trying to figure it out.
Yep.
And to be honest with you, man, being a veteran really helped those situations. It really helped those stories, because people love veterans and they love to give veterans opportunities. So at that point, it was like damn near no-brainer for those people.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, it's incredible, because like all your story, it makes so much sense over the period of time, because people are going to respond positively. One, you show up, like you said, you force that judgment in a positive direction. Right. And like, so right off the bat, you're walking into a room full of, millionaires, people pushing $1 million, $10 million houses. And you you're presenting yourself as, just like you said, I love the phrase that you said, that you respected yourself and you went in presenting yourself that way and with the confidence to do so, but also with the inquisitive mind, the inquisitive nature to like, I want to learn, I want to expand my knowledge, I want to be better, you know? And then even to the point of the guy whose house that you walked up to, he's like, shit, I recognize game. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Like that's respect. Like the fact that you had the balls to walk up to my door in my multi-million-dollar house and ask me if I want to sell it, and we've never met before. Okay.
And at that point, he had never engaged the agent about selling his house. He was like, man, to be honest with you, before he knocked on my door, I really just we never thought about selling the house. And now we're really thinking about it.
That was literally just sitting there waiting to be tapped that no one would have found out about. And maybe he wouldn't have even engaged for another several years in selling it. And then also just the value that you're then providing to him in his life, because that probably spurred the action. Because like, you know what? Let's start looking at, getting this house designed, the one that we actually want to live in. The wheels are now spinning. So it's not like you're out there taking advantage of people. You're providing value in this great service. So you're doing all these amazing things. You're in Washington, D.C. How long were you – because you're not there anymore. And so I kind of want to look at the transition story, because that – like, as inspiring as everything is up until this point, like we did a little talk right before we started recording, and I was like, bro, like, you're my hero. Like your outlook on life and your willingness to take action towards it is so admirable. I absolutely love it. And so how did the transition? So your wife was still in the military. She's working at the Pentagon. How did this transition from DC go? What kind of stuff?
One of a guy that I knew back home here in Louisiana called me one day, and he's like, hey man, and he's always following me on social media as well. And he said, hey man, this guy was a real estate agent as well. He's been in real estate he's been in real estate longer than me. He's been in about 14 years now. I've only been in 5 years now. He called me one day, and I'll never forget it, because I was sitting in another one of my $1 million homes that I was having an open house that day, and he called me, and he's just like, man, you're doing great. You're doing good things, man. I love it. However, I'm going to give you an opportunity. And he was like, hey, I got an opportunity to start a real estate company here back home with some guys that are home builders and land developers. And in the real estate world, as a real estate agent, one of your biggest goals is to find that builder. If you can find a guy that's building hundreds of homes a week, dude, it makes your job so much easier. Not a week, hundreds of homes a year. It makes your job so much easier, because you always have inventory. You always got this. You always have business, man. You always have business. So that's the ultimate goal for a real estate agent. And this guy calls and says, hey, I got this builder that's building hundreds of homes a year. He wants to start his own real estate company now. But he needs, in order for you to start a real estate company, you got to have a broker. You got to have a managing broker, basically. And the guy was calling him saying, hey, he needs brokers. He wants to open this real estate company. He needs brokers. I'm calling you because I see what you're doing. I know you. You're from here. We know each other. Do you think you'll move back and help me run this real estate company? Damn, let me think about it, because I'm finally getting to the point now to where I'm in this market that I want to be in. I'm selling these high-end homes. We're good. My wife's at the Pentagon. However, my wife was coming up on a time to where, you know how the military is, where it was that time where she needed to make a decision if she was going to stay or she was going to leave.
Yeah.
So I quickly brought it up to her, and we talked about it, and we finally came to the conclusion that, okay, let's do it. So we did it.
What were her thoughts about it? About moving to Louisiana, and you guys had your second child, right?
Yeah, by that time we had our second child.
And so uprooting from where you guys have lived for several years at this point, What? How did you convince her?
It really wasn't hard. I brought her home before we made the decision. I brought her to Louisiana.
Oh, okay. So she had been
in Louisiana before. She knew my parents. She'd been here before, so it wasn't a hard decision for her to make. She actually liked the fact that we would be close to family. We didn't have any family in DC.
Yeah,
so
that's huge.
Hard. It was difficult when you want to go out just a night on the town with you and your wife, finding a babysitter, doing all of that. It was difficult. So moving back home was like, okay, now we got that support. We can just
that social network.
Family, my kids can be with their grandparents. Like, this is perfect, right? So it wasn't hard to convince her, man. Honestly, I think the convincing was harder on my part. He had to convince me more to want to move.
Yeah, I mean, to leave that the opportunity that you had kind of busted your ass to get into and convinced people and worked and hoofed it, to be like, okay, well, I'm out.
But this is what my mentor always taught me. The guy that taught me everything about business, he always taught me. He said, listen, if you're always doing good and you're always progressing in life, one day you're going to get that knock at your door, or you're going to get that tap on your shoulder that's going to catapult you into another stratosphere that you never thought you would ever be in. And I always remembered that. And when that guy brought that opportunity to me, I felt like that was the tap on the shoulder. I felt like that was the tap on the shoulder to get me out of the everyday hustle and bustle of selling real estate and to be more so in the managing role of a real estate corporation. Right. So at that point, it was seeing the bigger picture at that point. Yep. Stop seeing the picture as just being a real estate agent. Now see the picture as a COO of a real estate brokerage that's selling millions of dollars in real estate a year. You can do that. So when he brought that to my attention, I was like, damn, this is damn near a no-brainer, right?
Yeah.
So I made the decision and we moved, and that was a year and a half ago.
Ooh, and so you've been the chief operations officer for this new real estate
brokerage.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And so were you there when it got off the ground, or did you kind of already have things running?
I was here when we started from day one. It was me, my partner, and of course the owners. But just real estate wise, real estate salesperson, real estate agent wise, it was just me, myself, my partner, and 2 other agents. So we started off with 4 agents.
And so you're still out there on the streets. You're still hustling and having those conversations and selling homes.
At that point, yeah, I was hustling. I didn't have to hustle that much because we had a guy that was building homes.
Right.
So hustle was kind of taken away from it. I'm still hiring on homes. In what hiring in Louisiana looks like is different from hiring in DC, Maryland, Virginia.
Yeah.
But I'm still in the realm of selling hiring homes here in Louisiana, because that's what those guys build. But it was easier at that point, and it eventually got to a point to where it was like, okay, I kind of want you to pull back from the everyday hustle and bustle of selling. We want to grow the company now. We need to grow the company now. So at that point, I kind of had to get into a recruiting mode to where I'm recruiting agents now to our brokerage. And at this point, it's almost the same thing to where I'm having to go out and meet with these agents and sell them on. Now I'm in the role.
Yeah, of where
now on the other side of the table from when I was sitting with that guy at Sotheby's.
It's kind of like you were talking about how you were interviewing brokerages. Like, you're getting interviewed now by real estate agents, and it is a mutual interview back and forth. Like, are they a good fit for you? Are you a good fit for them? That's really awesome that you've been able to sit on both sides of that desk.
Right.
So is that where the most of your responsibilities lie now? Is in expanding the agents that you guys have, adding more people to the team?
Yeah, so and I've streamlined that process and made it easier for me, of course, as any businessman would. We started with 4 agents a year and a half ago with 1 location. In that first year of real estate, we sold, I want to say about $15 million in real estate. which was okay. That was decent. Right now we have 33 agents. We have.
Oh my God.
we have. I left my key at home. I know. I'm glad you did too. I know. You want to leave me a key? Yeah. Oh, thank you. Have great people here. I left my office key at home. Everybody's gone. Dan, what was I saying?
You had expanded to 33 agents.
Right. So we got 33 agents right now. 5 locations. Thank you so much. Okay. I'll be here early anyway. 5 locations, 33 agents. You ain't got to lock it. That's fine. Ain't nobody gonna kill me. 33 agents, 5 locations, and we're spread out in Louisiana. Right now, we've sold over $40 million in real estate.
Jeez.
No,
that's a hell of a. So that's total in the year and a half that you've been doing it.
No. That's this year.
This year. So the first year was 15.
Yeah.
And then you bumped it.
The first year it kind of was a wash because we started so late in the year.
I got you.
It was a wash. So from January into now, we sold over 40 million in real estate. And we're constantly growing, man. We're constantly growing. So all those agents now. So now I put myself in a position to where I'm getting residual checks from all 30 agents, right? So now the hustle and bustle of selling real estate is really no longer there. Now I focus more on growing the corporation and growing those agents so I can make money in my sleep.
That's beautiful. I love it. I love it. So, we talked about some of the barriers that you saw kind of to your entry into it, and basically like you walk around and you see the real estate agents and you're not seeing a lot of black people from the black community stepping up and making themselves a big name. So what did you have to deal with? And it sounded like you've kind of were able to overcome a lot of that. Were you faced with any obstacles in that regard?
No, because this is my hometown. Even though I've been gone for 10 years, a lot of people didn't know me when I moved back.
Right.
But a lot of people still knew me, right? And a lot of people were following me on social media. So they knew what I was doing. They knew what type of person I was.
Yeah.
They knew I was trying to do good. So coming back home, I would say that it helped it. A lot of people didn't understand why I would move back home.
Mm-hmm.
But it did help. And a lot of older people kind of look at me as that guy. Like they look at me like, hey, we need you to continue on this path because you just don't understand how many people you're inspiring in the black community to do something different. When I was younger, growing up here, the only people that I could look up to, it's crazy, but the only people that I could look up to was the drug dealers because those were the guys that had the nice cars, the nice clothes, they had all the money, they had everything.
It goes back to branding. It goes back to like they're branding themselves with these material successes in this way. And when that's what you see, and the other people are doing what? They're the ones doing the drugs.
Right.
The majority of the people that you're seeing are in this this transaction, like I'm looking at the people like, okay, these guys are successful. Look, he's got a new car.
Right.
He's got some gold chains. He's always got the new shoes. You know what I mean? And like, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Right.
So you get to come in and present another way and put a real person behind it. Not like you can do whatever you want. Like, no, for real. Like, look.
It's not, to them now, it's not cliche anymore. It's
yeah.
Like, damn, like this guy, you can touch him, feel him, you can see him. This guy is really here doing something. And I don't take advantage of that, man. I mentor as many kids as I possibly can. Not even just kids, people. I have people that's older than me that will come up to me and like, man, how do you do it? Like, what is it, So to be in this position is I don't take it lightly. I don't take it for granted. I'm very serious with it because I know that people are watching me. I know that people are looking at what I'm doing and following what I'm doing the same way I was doing when I was here and I was young. So just doing different things, man, not just making it all about real estate. Being on the Chamber of Commerce, I'm a board of director of the Chamber of Commerce. I try to be involved with things. I mean, I meet with the mayor. I talk to the mayor about making our city better, bringing industry here, like doing different things to make the city better. And you gotta do different things.
Yeah, that partnership between the private and the public sector it's so significant, because for me, I am a low tax, low government intervention kind of guy. Like I want you mostly out of my life as much as possible. But in order to make that happen, like you have, like the private sector has to step up and bring those functions that you want. Like I went to a city council meeting. It was actually like they're trying to figure out who's going to take a city council seat. So it was kind of like a debate, but it was in for like Hinesville, Georgia. It was this like town of like 10,000 people. But there was one guy up there who just kept saying the same thing. They were like, the first question they asked were like, who here wants their taxes increased? And no one raised their hand. Like, who here wants them decreased? And they're like, okay, everyone raised their hand. And then they're like, okay, what do we want to do about the homeless situation? Like, oh, we should build homes. Like, okay, what do you want to do about after school kids programs? We want 50 of them. They're like, and this one guy's like, do you guys understand how money works? Because like
you want to lower the taxes, but you want all these things.
Exactly. And they're like, the only way that we can do it is if we incentivize and motivate industry to come here, and then for them to compete against each other, so that way it's actually price competitive for you. So it's cheaper, the best service for the cheapest prices for the individual. And so the fact that you're actively engaged in that process, dude, like best friend from afar, I swear to God, like, living out the principles that I preach all the time. And I think it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, man. Because our city struggles with industry. When we have a huge university here, and once our kids graduate, they gone. They don't stay here, and it's hurting us because we're losing those dollars. Not even just the dollars. We're losing those people. We're losing those young-minded, progressive people that can stay here and make this city better.
Yeah,
but there's not a lot of jobs.
What's the incentive for them to stay? If the industry is not there and there's not an opportunity for them to step up and make something of themselves locally, I mean, the big, greatest minds are going to go to the big, great places.
Yeah.
And it takes somebody of a certain heart and spirit to bring it back, like you did. Like you went and you made it big in a big place. Like you didn't hit it big in a small pond. You were a small fish in a very big pond, and you grew, and then you took that and you brought it home. And that in and of itself is amazing. It's so important, just like everyone was saying to you, that for people to be able to see that tangibly in front of their face. There's actually, I'm working on something, a personal project that kind of works in tandem with what I'm trying to do with the podcast. I'm going to talk to you about it after we get done recording, to see if it'd be something that you'd be interested in. If I'm able to swing through Louisiana and we can kind of collaborate on something, we'll talk more about it. But I guess we'll kind of get to the point of wrapping things up. The last thing that I usually ask people is, what does success look like for you? So whether it be people you're helping or money or multiple aspects of things, like when it's all said and done and you look back and what needs to happen for you to look back with like a smile on your face, like, yeah, man, I did it. And what is it?
That's a good question, because I literally think about that all the time. And I also say that if any business person cannot answer that question, they're probably doing something wrong. Yeah. For me personally, it's to leave a legacy. And I know a lot of people say it, but it's to leave a legacy for my kids, man. I mean, I'm not second generation or third generation wealthy at all. I wasn't left anything, brother. I had to figure it out. So if I can leave that legacy for my kids, that's what success looks like for me. It's not a car, it's not a house, it's not the money. It's to be able to leave something for my kids when I leave this earth. for them to say, damn, my daddy left that there for me. I don't have to go work for anybody else. He started this business. He left a business here. I can go work at that business if I want to.
Right.
So just leaving a legacy for my family, their kids and their kids, and just success to me also looks like being a good person, always doing right for people, and right will be done to you. No, there is no doubt about it, man. If you do right to people, right is going to be done for you. They're going to love you. You're going to always make money. You're going to always be successful. But you got to be a good person, man. You got to do right.
Absolutely. No, I couldn't agree more. I really think that we're very, like, personalities and energies and actions that we take on every day are they attract like energy. And so if you're out there and you're scamming and you're scheming, like, that's the type of stuff that you're going to be bringing into your life. Like, you're going to make some short-term gains and you're going to get some wins.
Right.
You know, but in the long term, as you're burning these bridges, like, you're turning yourself into an island, you know, and people are not going to want to mess around with you. And
people want to burn bridges and then want to ask you for your boat. They want to ask you
exactly. And it goes to, it's so funny because that someone was just talking to me about that with the name of the show, because the show's name is Burn Your Boats.
Right.
So, and that's the thing is, I'm like, don't burn your bridges, burn your boats. It's like where my head is at. Like, you want to maintain your connection with people and your networking, and the way that it's not even, I don't even look at it as transactionally. Like, I genuinely love people, and you have to do me pretty serious wrong for me to cut you out.
Right.
But I will.
Right.
Will absolutely remove those anchors from my life. Like, if you're not there, like, supporting me in some way, shape, and form, even if it's emotionally, like, you're not gonna have any significant part of my life, you know. And I need to detach myself, and that's what Burn Your Boats is. I need to detach myself from the safety nets and from the things that are holding me back from pursuing the goals and the passions of the future.
Right.
So I don't need the boat that's going to take me back home to the safe ground of where I was before. And for me, that's the military.
Right.
My boat right now, my safety net's the military, and that's quite possibly quickly coming to an end. By the time that this airs, I probably won't be in the military anymore. So we'll figure that out. But hey, man, I really appreciate it. This was an amazing conversation.
Thank you, man. Yes.
I think that this is going to hit home for a lot of people that have come up in similar situations, and just seeing those obstacles, like, in your face. Because like you said, somebody could be going through similarly, even if it's not in the military, if they're going through, they just got fired from their job, they just got laid off. Then, I mean, it's hard to spur up that motivation to be like, I'm going to go get it. Like, that's not what I'm feeling right now, man. I want to burn everything down. Right. And so I think that your story really does that. So thank you for taking the time. I know you're a busy, very important man now, so it's appreciated. Oh, if people wanted to check you out and see kind of like what you have going on, and even if there are like real estate agents out there, like, dude, I want to mess around with Mario. Like, what's going on with this, Mr. Fox? I mean, how would they get a hold of you? What's the name of your company and everything?
So the name of our company is Rhodes Realty. That's RHODES Realty. If you want to reach out to me, you can email me at mario@rhodesrealtyla.com. Find me on Facebook, Mario FitzGerald Fox. I use my whole name. Easy to find. That's really my only social media outlet.
Yep.
Yeah, those are the best ways to find me and contact me.
Perfect. Awesome, man. Thanks again.
All right. Thank you, man. Have a good day.
You too.